Are you tired of running the same meta plays over and over again? Well, if you are, I got a treat for you. Today, I am going to show you how to run one of the best off-meta offenses in Madden 23 out of the gun split close formation in the 49ers playbook. To begin, let's start with the why. Why would you run this formation? The biggest advantage of the gun split close is the alignment. Having two backs in the backfield, they cannot be pressed by DBs and will get a free release each time. On top of that, you can motion either back across the formation to create troublesome man swapping assignments. For example, against the play spinner, using a common setup, you can motion Christian McCaffrey here across the formation, and both men end up getting manned up on George Kittle, leaving McCaffrey open for a one-play touchdown. The second biggest advantage of the gun split close formation is using the tight end at fullback package, scrolling over with your right stick. Once you get a tight end at fullback, you get access to a majority of the playbook, including formations such as gun tight, gun tray, and even the gun debo package, which are all great options if you want to change things up on your opponent. Next up, let's talk about the abilities you need to run this formation at the highest level possible. And truthfully, it's only one. You're going to need a man coverage beating ability on your slot receiver. In my personal opinion, my favorite one is short and elite. At the position, you can use Cooper Kupp or Steve Smith, who get it for 0p. I opted to use the Thanksgiving Randy Moss because you can also get a 0 AP deep out elite, and he's also much faster and taller than the other two. Outside of the man coverage beating ability on your slot receiver, you can basically freestyle all the other abilities around on your offense. Obviously, we want to use set feet lead to get that extra throw power from our quarterback, but I encourage you to try different abilities and see what fits your playstyle the best. Alright, now that we got our ability set, I'm going to show you how to beat man coverage. Play we're going to call here is halfback wheel. This play is so good due to the fact that it has a number of unique routes you can't find anywhere else, and we're going to start by highlighting this slot deep corner route. Pre-snap, you can identify cover 0 by seeing both safeties walk down closer to the line of scrimmage. As we snap the ball, Randy gets a one-on-one with the safety and immediately wins with his first cut because of short and elite. Now, here's where our settings come into play. I'm currently on freeform settings near and 2020. What we want to do with this pass is we want to highball as well as freeform this pass to the 9 o'clock. We don't want to miss too high with this because that can lead to overthrows, but freeforming it directly to the left, we're able to get Randy enough space to beat the safety for an easy touchdown. Next up, we have cover 1 with one deep safety high. As we snap the ball, Randy gets a one-on-one with the corner and wins with his short and elite. This freeform pass is a little bit high, but we're still able to come with a catch, and we smoke the corner for a big gain. Pre-snap here, we see two high safeties, which leads me to believe this guy is in cover 2. As we snap the ball, Randy gets bumped and ends up cutting later than I thought he would, making this a closer throw than it should have been. On the next play, we end up motioning Brandon Ayuk across the formation to clear out the other cornerback and eliminate as much bumping as possible. This doesn't completely remove all the bumping. Randy ends up cutting sooner and eliminating that safety from the play. Here's a 3rd and 27, and to try and eliminate that deep half even further, we end up motioning George Kittle over to the right and putting him on a streak to completely occupy the deep half. As we snap the ball, Randy ends up getting wide open here and allowing us to pick up this 3rd and 27. This slot deep corner out of halfback wheel is the bread and butter to beating man coverage out of this formation, and we want to run it to force our opponent to have to use it. Once our opponent sells out to take away the slot deep corner, we can start using our second man beating route out of the play halfback wheel, and that's motioning out this wheel route from Christian McCaffrey. As you can see here in this red zone situation, when we hike the ball, the inside corner gets picked off and we're able to easily throw to the halfback wheel for an easy gain. This motioned out wheel versus man coverage is super consistent as you're able to get 4 to 5 yards almost every time. And sometimes when formations are misaligned, you're able to pick up huge gains. The one thing you need to be aware about when throwing this route is you do kind of got to watch, because sometimes 1 out of every 50 times the opponent's DB will play like Superman and make plays like this. If your opponent's DB is really playing the real route, you could always switch up to a zig or another man beating route, and you're still going to be able to cook out of the slot, especially if you have a good receiving back. And if you're able to successfully run this play multiple times, your opponent will be forced to use it, especially in this red zone situation here. You can see his user goes with the running back, and I'm able to hit a wide open slant over the middle for a touchdown. Moving on to the 3rd man beating route out of the play halfback wheel, we have this deep post from the ISO side receiver. Now this route is the least consistent out of the 3 as it struggles to get open versus press man coverage, but versus off man coverage, this thing fries. Pre-play here, we got too high and what looks to be base aligned pressed man, so he does kind of get an off coverage look. And this is glowing big play Slay, who I believe is 94 versus 90 overall. Brandon Ayuk absolutely gets cooked. Motioned over here, Jerry Rice. Brandon Ayuk again versus off coverage absolutely cooks Rod Woodson, who's a significantly better cornerback than he is a wide receiver. Here again, we got that too high, so we're kind of throwing it down the middle. This isn't as good against cover 1 because you have to throw across the safety, but we got Jerry Rice on the solo deep post versus the too high. His corner is an off coverage. I believe that's Tariq Woolen. Absolutely gets cooked, has no chance to stay with him. And luckily, we don't drop the ball as the safety has a KO ability. Next up, we are back in practice mode discussing how to beat probably the most popular zone in the game, a cover 3. We're starting on the middle hashes. So this example is for if you were in the middle of the field, smack dab in the middle of the hashes. What we're going to do is we're going to motion out Christian McCaffrey, our running back, to the right, get him on a slot streak our slot receiver on the left, and basically isolate this middle safety. As we snap the ball, he basically stays smack dab in the middle, and we're going to high ball and free form the ball away from the safety for an easy big gain or one play touchdown. Now we're attacking cover 3 from having our doubles on the wide side of the field. The 2 wide receiver side of split close out of the play halfback wheel is on the wide side of the field. And what we're doing here is we're just putting our outside receiver on the streak. The spacing gets a little bit different when you're on the wide side of the field, so this is the best way to get the ball away from the safety. We're high balling it away. What you can also do is if you want to get real froggy, you can hit this deep post and bend the ball back using freeform. We're highballing and bending the ball back away from the safety for another one play touchdown. I highly recommend just throwing the streak from the far side receiver, as that's the most consistent. Next, we're operating with our doubles in the formation, our 2 wide receiver side on the short side. What we're going to do here is we're going to motion out the halfback wheel to Christian McCaffrey, and we're going to streak that solo receiver. This creates the best possible spacing in between the safety and the cornerback, and we're going to highball and keep that away from the center field safety for a touchdown or a big gain. As you can see here, things don't always go as planned in the game, as we're not quite on a hash, but we're not quite in the middle either. I operate here thinking that my doubles are on the wide side as we streak Jerry Rice. And what ends up happening here is I make the read pretty late. He's in a weird formation. I highball and I get this thing as far away from the center field safety as I can. And this is an absolute bomb to Jerry Rice for a touchdown. Whether it be in Madden or in actual football, one of the best cover 3 beaters is a corner route from one side of the formation pulling a deep third, followed by a deep post on the other side of the formation getting over top for a one play touchdown. The play halfback wheel is actually designed to do that stock. What happens this year, though, is that the deep safety plays extremely far back and the pass rush does not give you enough time to ever really throw that. The only scenario I found this year where this play ever really gets open to do its purpose is when your opponent is in a baseline cover 3 or is rolling their coverage. They're inverted cover 3. Safeties are moving from weird spots. You're able to hit these posts. What you want to look for is a too high look and the safety on the side of the post rotating into a deep third. If you get this, you're able to throw right across his face quickly enough before the pass rush gets there for an easy big gain or one play touchdown. All right, next we're going to be discussing this halfback wheel route from Christian McCaffrey versus pretty much any zone in the game. Unless it's a shaded down, hard, flat, pressed, this is pretty much going to be open for 4 to 5 yards every single play. See here we have cover 4 match, plays it decently well, still a 5-6 yard gain there, break a tackle. But as you can see here, we're facing a shaded down hard flat. If we try and quick throw this, the defender will make a play, isn't able to pick it off there. What you do here, if you notice your opponent starts playing hard flats after you've hit this route for a while, we're going to hot route our running back into a regular wheel and then motion him out. Here, if you wait for the running back to get past the flat, you could either throw this deep post or this wide route for an easy touchdown. Next, we're going to be going over how to beat a coverage that gives the gun split close a little bit of trouble, at least until I found this play setup, and that's the cover 4 match quarters. What we're going to be calling versus it is the Niners halfback rail, and what we're doing is basically remaking the play flood that you find out of bunch. This is a very good cover 4 match quarters beater. All we're doing is we're going to put the running back, or George Kittle in this case, on an out route, and we're just streaking the inside slot receiver. This is creating a very similar route combo to flood, and what ends up happening is this super deep out route that comes stock in the halfback rail will cook outside quarters. Honestly, you can freestyle whatever you like on the backside. I usually use a running back master on my other running back, so you can put them on an angle route to kind of draw the user and keep that out route open. But this is very consistent versus quarters, and it opens up a lot of your offense as people can't just spam quarters versus you. Lastly, one of the most unique aspects of this shotgun formation, this gun split close, is its run game. Because you have 2 backs in the backfield, you're able to get really good blocking on a lot of these runs. The 2 runs we'll be using are fullback inside, which is a run with our tight end, and the halfback power O. Here we're running the power O, and you basically just want to play a numbers game. The blocking in Madden 23 isn't the best, and sheds against lighter formations are quite often. But if you find a situation where you want to catch your opponent off guard, you're able to pick up pretty solid gains and keep them off balance with the run game. As we see here, George Kittle's able to break this 80-yard touchdown out of fullback inside. So feel free to use this to mix up your play calling and to keep your opponent off guard. Alrighty, that's it. You guys are ready to get on the virtual gridiron and have some fun. If you guys enjoyed the content, feel free to subscribe and drop a like, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.